What's up, YouTube? Jeff, your Style O.G. And on today's video, I'm going to share with you 12 signs you might be with the wrong woman. If you're new to the channel, we release a new video every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, discussing various men's lifestyle topics such as style, grooming, and dating. I invite you to subscribe, tap the notification bell, and join us. And to my returning friends like Gerald Ferguson, salute. Now today's video is mostly about compatibility. It's not about whether the woman you're with is a bad person or not a good partner. It's more about she could be a good person, just not good for you. And of course, throughout a relationship, it's natural to have ebbs and flows, ups and downs. But what if you're not sure if you're with the right person to begin with? That's what we're going to discuss on today's video. I'm going to give you some clues to look out for that you might be with the wrong person. So without any further delay, let's hop right into it. Now, the first thing you need to do to figure out if you're with the right woman is to take an overarching wide-angle approach. Do you guys have different life plans? This might mean you're incompatible. Here's what I'm talking about. You may want a family and kids. She's not ready to settle down anytime soon. You want to live in a big city? She's a suburbs girl. Does it seem like you guys have different ideas of what a commitment looks like in your relationship? Does it seem like you guys' priorities just aren't aligned? And when you try to hash these differences out, is it difficult to come to compromise? Especially on the big things. You need to be pretty much aligned for your next 5 years, especially when it comes to the big things and major decisions in life. You need to make sure you guys have the same 5-year plan. Now, speaking of compromise, throughout the relationship, you're just not always gonna see eye to eye. That's natural. You're gonna have some conflict. But you might be with the wrong person if you guys argue instead of disagree. Let me tell you what the difference is. When you argue, it involves negative emotions, blame, anger, defensiveness, accusations. When you argue, it's about who's right, not coming to an understanding. And when you argue, one or both of you are listening to reply, not to understand each other. On the other hand, if you have disagreements, you're both more concerned about coming to an understanding, coming to a solution. When you disagree, neither of you feels attacked. You both actively listen to each other, take into consideration their point of view, and then state your case. And when you disagree, you speak to each other calmly and with respect. If you find throughout your relationship, when you do have a conflict of interest, you're more likely to argue than disagree, could be a bad sign. Another important sign to pay attention to that you might be with the wrong woman: does your relationship not feel equal? Now, I'm of the opinion a relationship is not 50-50. It's 100-100. You both are giving your all in the relationship. You both are pulling your weight. Does one person feel taken advantage of? Does one person feel like they're doing much more to contribute to the relationship than the other? Both parties have to feel like they're giving and receiving reciprocity. And here's the thing, it might not be her. It might be you. Do some self-analysis. Do you feel motivated to pull your weight? Do you know that you're slacking? Sometimes as men, when we don't put our all in, it's because we're not motivated or inspired by the person or the relationship. Another sign I definitely believe you should pay attention to: do one or both of you have no outside interests or hobbies other than each other? This is definitely a no-no for you or her. Do you guys spend tons of time together and rarely come up for air? Have you or her given up on your outside interests and hobbies? Do you find yourself or her not spending time with your friends or family? Is there some clinginess going on in a relationship? This is a bad sign. You want to have a full relationship. You have that by being a full person, individually. Make sure you have other things you're doing. Give each other a chance to miss one another. In fact, when you do outside things, when you get together, you'll have more to talk about. When you're in a relationship, it's great to spend a lot of time together, but neither one of you should lose your identity or your outside interests. Now, another definite sign you could be with the wrong woman: she doesn't speak your love language, especially in a serious relationship. As a guy, you need to be loved the way you perceive love, the way that makes you feel fulfilled. Are you a guy who likes to be nurtured, but she doesn't cook or clean? Are you a man who desires affirmation and she rarely gives you the proverbial pat on the head? Are you a person who loves affection and she rarely touches you? That's a problem. Do you love quality time and she's always busy? The problem is when you don't have someone who speaks your love language, you'll fill a void and you eventually may grow resentful. Doesn't make her a bad person, maybe just not compatible for you. Something very important to pay attention to is if in your relationship you feel like you can't be your true self. Now here's the thing, The right woman will motivate you, inspire you, and challenge you to be the best version of yourself. But notice what I said there, the best version of yourself. She'll help you evolve. She won't try to change you. If you find yourself walking on eggshells, trying to be a perfect guy, or this perfect guy you think she wants, that's non-sustainable. Very mentally exhausting. You won't be able to keep it up. The real you will come out eventually. And if you're in a relationship like this, it's really not you who she wants. It's this ideal version of who she thinks you can be that she's actually intrigued by. It does not mean you shouldn't want to be the best version of yourself in this relationship. She'll push you to evolve, not change. Now, another sign I definitely want you to pay attention to, do you feel like you can be vulnerable with your woman? Yes, a woman wants a man who's strong, a provider, a protector, but you shouldn't feel like you have to be this ultra-masculine, non-feeling robot. Can you confidently admit your shortcomings, your fears, and your insecurities? Can you reveal some of your weaknesses with your woman without feeling judged? Here's the thing, men have a full range of human emotions. You should be able to express them if you're with the right woman. You are vulnerable with the right woman. She'll make you feel supported, encouraged, and she'll be empathetic. You see, a man of strength feels comfortable sharing his weaknesses with the right woman. You definitely want to consider running for the hills if you're with a woman who's extremely critical. Is she always focusing on your flaws, always passing judgment on you? Instead of talking about your specific behaviors, does she criticize and attack your character? This is a bad sign. Does she put you down instead of lifting you up? Now, on the other hand, there's nothing wrong with constructive criticism. If she's pointing out things you might do better. But it's about the approach. It's about the focus. You see, with constructive criticism, she'll say things like this. Hey, maybe if you looked at it this way. Or, I think you'd be great at this. Once she points out something you might be doing wrong, she has a constructive solution she'd like to offer. Not just tearing you down as a person. Because as I mentioned earlier, the right woman will motivate and inspire you. But the wrong woman will tear you down, criticize you, and attack your character. She's extremely critical. Another huge red flag, you might be with the wrong woman. Does she not trust you when you've honestly given her no reason not to? This is definitely a problem. You see, trust is very important in a relationship. Once it's lost, oftentimes a relationship is doomed. But here's what I want you to do. There is some nuance. If your woman doesn't trust you, first, do some self-analysis. Have you honestly given her no reason to feel like she can't trust you? You've never cheated, you're not acting suspicious, do you keep your word, are you dependable? If you can honestly say to yourself, you haven't given her reason not to trust you, the problem may lie with her. She may be insecure, she might be cheating. But before you jump to conclusions, sit her down. Ask her why she feels this lack of trust. And if she can't give you a logical, rational reason why, your relationship might be in trouble. Now, I definitely believe you might be with the wrong woman if you don't care at all what your friends or family think about her. Now, here's the thing. Outside people should not be the determining factor whether you're with someone. But let's be honest. When you have people in your life whose opinion you value, you want them to like your potential long-term mate. If you don't even care, you might not be taking a relationship very seriously. And this will vary from guy to guy. Think about your baseline on how much you usually care how your friends and family feel about your girl. If you care way less in this situation, you're probably not that much into her. And just about all of us, when we do get serious, we incorporate the woman into our lives. She's gonna be around your family and friends. If you really don't give a crap about what they think about her, you're probably with the wrong girl. You also could be with the wrong woman if you love what the relationship could be, not what it actually is. Do you constantly tell yourself, man, if we just get this right, I'd really love her. This would be a great relationship. Do you often tell yourself, it might not be great now, but man, I know it will be one day. Bad sign. And I'm not talking about the normal ebbs and flows of a relationship. Yes, there will be peaks and valleys. Sometimes the relationship is hitting, sometimes it will feel like it's not. But you have to be honest with yourself and see if you're being an eternal optimist. If the relationship is never what you want it to be and you keep hoping upon hope, that's a bad sign. And here's the thing, it doesn't mean either one of you is a bad person. The problem is relationships and people can evolve, but they rarely change. If you honestly can say the relationship will be a lot better with just some minor tweaks, might be the right person. If you find yourself loving what the relationship overall could be instead of what it is, you might be with the wrong woman. Now, next up is an important sign that's near the top of the list, in my opinion. Do you have a deep gut feeling she's not the right woman? It's not out of the ordinary to sometimes question your relationship. It might be the reason you clicked on this very video. But here's the thing, if you feel it deep in your gut, That's a huge sign. Are you bored in a relationship? Do you often imagine your life without this woman? Does it always feel like something is off? Can you genuinely say you're just not happy? Throughout life, we do need to trust our instincts sometimes. Not some fleeting feeling day to day that, hey, maybe this isn't the right one. I'm talking about a deep gut feeling. If you have a deep gnawing feeling you're with the wrong woman, chances are you're probably right. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, just because you might not be compatible with someone doesn't mean she's not a good woman. Maybe just not good for you. Do some analysis. Does your relationship have a lot of the signs we talked about in today's video? It's very likely you're with the wrong woman. Now, as always, I'd love to have your input. Let the Style O.G family know in the comment section if you believe there's some signs I didn't mention a guy could be with the wrong girl.